All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case cross-platform. We got to check over on Rumble. Make sure that's actually the case. And by the way, over 100,000 people subscribing to me on Rumble now. So thank you all for hitting that subscribe button. Make sure if you're on YouTube, watching this, of course, live stream, head on over to Rumble and give me a follow there. Link in the description, of course. I won't pin it in the chat this time. Over 1,000 people actually joining in the last 24 hours. So it's a pretty good growth, I will say. More than you'll get on YouTube at this point. Okay, we are live on Rumble. Just a moment here. Let me make sure everything is kosher. Chat's working. All the tabs appear to be working. We're going to try to keep it a little bit short today. I've had some difficulties with content creation today. Not a banned account. Farmers in the USA are being aggressively marketed with biosludge as a solution to fertilizer prices, wastewater with microplastics, pharma, etc. on their fields. Not a surprise, although they have been using that for the last 100 years or so. Mega Sea Monkey, good morning, Sticks. Here's to the caffeine fund. I would donate more, but gas prices are still drowning me here in Connecticut. Woohoo! Yeah, thank you, Joe Biden. Glassish over on Rumble. Congrats on 100K. Clank, found you a year ago on Leaderboard. I don't even know what that is, although I have heard of it. Excellent. Anyway, we'll get right into it. I'm going to try to keep it short, as I stated before. Trump threatens major motion based on Fourth Amendment in FBI Mar-a-Lago search. Yes, former President Donald Trump on Friday threatened a major motion involving the Fourth Amendment over the FBI search of his Mar-a-Lago home. He offered no details, though he appeared to be referring to court action. The Fourth Amendment provides protection from unreasonable search and seizure. Well, depending on what the affidavit supplies, there could be a Fourth Amendment argument to be made here. What I would say is this. With Trump's case, executive privilege and potentially attorney-client is arguably more important than Fourth Amendment protections. Because, of course, if the claim is that you improperly stored classified documents, the Fourth Amendment does not cover you because those documents are not protected under the Fourth Amendment. You don't have any right to have them. What Trump has claimed is that they were all declassified. I've pointed out before, and I'll do it again, that Trump can effectively just claim that he had a closed-door meeting at an indeterminate time with potentially an indeterminate person and say, look, I discussed these documents with Mr. X over here. They're declassified because I discussed them. I gave them openly to someone who didn't have security privilege. And there's really no way to disprove that that's the case. What can be done, and this is what I suspect, when the affidavit is unsealed, it will be a lie by omission. That's number one. And that'll be used to claim that documents were not properly declassified. Before a jury, if there's a trial at all, and I'm still iffy on that, what the DOJ would claim, if it wants to persecute Trump, prosecute, aka persecute, is to say, no, it wasn't declassified, but we can't give any real details on who's claiming this, what the content of the documents is, etc., because it's top secret. We're claiming that it was not declassified, and we know this because these unclassified documents cannot be released to you. That is what they will go with if they bring a case at all. Mr. Marsterman. Hey, Sticks, have you heard of Armored Skeptics' History is a Lie series? It's mostly serious theorizing on ancient technologies and some conspiracy theories. I don't pay attention to Armored Skeptic. Bobby Lane. Howdy, Sticks. What's your favorite Sticks song? Renegade is pretty good, actually. Buzzin' Jimmy. Have a lovely weekend. The FBI suck. Steady Eddie 1983, far left, blah, 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 danger to democracy. Also far left, it's okay to use propaganda to influence a democratic election. Yes, we'll be getting into Sam Harris and his bullshit. Eaters of Dead, corporate media blackout between November 1st and November 8th voting day. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube said they will block political speech. Only use alternative social media. Please copy and distribute. No, use them both. Use mainline tech and new tech. That's what I do, and it works. Zinc Orby. So Carrie Lake said something that got Crowder banned. Looks like a new low for YouTube. Yes, your guests have to be on their best behavior. This is a way to keep you from having guests on that are questionable to the mainstream demographic. So yes, Trump is claiming that he's going to be doing a major motion based on the Fourth Amendment. Again, it's secondary or tertiary to his main arguments, which is I declassified everything. I claim executive privilege over the meetings in which those were declassified, and you can't prove jack shit. They will try a workaround. It is my opinion that they will attempt to persecute him further. I think this is mainly to hold over the heads of the election, MAGA people in the election. That being said, they could go further. They could be crazy enough to actually attempt to charge him with a crime that he didn't commit. Nick Laney. Hey, Sticks, had a local sheriff canvassing at my door for electronics. Got me thinking what I should look for in electing a sheriff. I don't know what that means, canvassing for electronics. Look for a sheriff who's a libertarian. Luka Pilipovic, opinion on federal judge blocking DeSantis, partially blocking his anti-woke bill. Yes, that is a big story. It'll probably be thrown out, to tell the truth, on the next level of the court. E. Lombard, loving the live stream, Sticks. Thank you from Boston. Misael Fraga, Dem saying defund FBI by Republicans is hypocritical. Well, it technically is, until you get into the meat and bones and realize that local police are not the same as the FBI, which is what they will not admit to. Now we'll get into Andrew Yang. Oh, boy. Andrew Yang, I still want the same things for people as I did when I was a Democrat. I just determined that it's the system itself that will keep most of them from happening and will leave most people behind, so we change the system. Yang has faced problems from the left and the right on the spectrum. He's trying to form a new third party, which is like superfluous. We've already got 3 or 4 of them. He's trying to, what is it, the Forward Party? I think he's deeming it. But really, it's the same UBI socialism that he's been peddling before. He's just pretending that it's different. Like he's like, where is it here? We'll go through some of his posts. I'm an entrepreneur and enjoy building things and solving problems. I can't imagine anything that you were an entrepreneur of, Andrew Yang. Breaking up the duopoly and giving people more genuine choices requires a lot of things. Ballot access is very difficult to attain, for example, by design. You need a lot of energized people and resources. Well, then you should join an actual third party instead of trying to form your own in order to grift. I think this is a cash sponge for Andrew Yang. I think he realizes that his political career is effectively dead, and now he's trying to sell books and get donations. And at the bottom, the best way to make something what you want is to lend a hand. You can help define this movement for the better. We are a small, scrappy, and new. We have state chapters in all 50 states and some exciting times ahead. All I can promise you is great people. And then he's got the link to the Forward Party page where you can donate and shit like that. Basically, he's just grifting. He's being disingenuous, and he's attention seeking. I think that part of it is for clout. That is, the idea is when you're online, Andrew Yang does have an audience. When you're in that position, there are 2 ways that you can make money. One is to get more audience. The other is to solicit money. He's going down both routes, but mainly he's just trying to shitpost and get more fame, more attention, because he knows that down the road he can sell more books to people. That's, in my opinion, that's what Andrew Yang is doing. Not that Brandon, no comment over on Rumble. Well, thank you. I appreciate the non-comment. Let's see. Fire down below. What are your thoughts on the Trump Organization employee flipping to testify against Trump after his felony charges? Yeah, who cares? They've been doing that for years and years, and nothing's come of it. Skyward Pictures, thank you for all the primary analysis. Looking forward to the midterms. Yes, I can't wait for that live stream. It's going to be one for the ages. Batman, bought all the reasons we need gun control. Was not disappointed at all. Keep up the good work. Yes, that was definitely a fan favorite of yesteryear. It's 300 and some odd pages of blank paper. It's all the reasons that we need gun control in the United States, but there are none. It was an easy book to write. Grandpa Nurgle, vote sleazy or you're whacked. Son of Tiamat, should Trump be held accountable for the mysterious deaths from the jab due to him pushing Operation Warp Speed? No, absolutely not. He did nothing wrong. I'll be actually covering that, I think, in my debate, which is to come in a couple of weeks. It goes hand in hand with the idea of the travel ban to and from China that actually was passed around the same time. And it's knee-jerkism, but when you're in an elected position, the public's will does actually matter. I do have actually quite a nuanced take, I think, on that, and I'll be talking about that. The good stuff. Hey, Sticks, can you let people know about my channel? I'm traveling while getting finance degree and making videos. It's my dream. Okay, the good stuff over on YouTube. You can check it out. So yeah, Yang is grifting. Fuck him. Next story, and this is a very funny one. Sam Harris, you know, from the other day. No biggie, just 1.5 million followers on Twitter and talking about how he does not care if Hunter Biden had little kids' corpses in his basement. It's justified when the legacy media decided to cover up the news about his laptop because it helped to prevent Donald Trump from getting elected. Yeah, he blocked me. I take that as an epic win, by the way. This is a badge of honor. Sam Harris, who is not actually intellectual at all, has blocked me. He's done this because he doesn't want me trolling his material. And I did. I said, don't worry about it. You don't need to post on Twitter. Anyone who's already following you, you know, not for the purposes of just criticizing you, but they actually like the material. They're too brain dead. They're too big of lemmings to give a shit about the fact that you're completely disingenuous. They don't care about the fact that you don't care if Hunter Biden did crazy and illegal shit and it was covered up by the corporate media complex. None of these people care. They already like you. Clearly, they're not exactly the brightest bulbs in the goddamn closet. And anyone that does care, they already didn't like you because they already have a thinking brain. So they're not watching Sam Harris. They're watching Styx Hexenhammer. And he didn't like this. Clearly, he did not enjoy this. Gad Saad and Posobiec and a bunch of other people were also blocked by Sam Harris recently. That's because we criticized him. Oh my goodness, we want to have a conversation about things, but not that kind of conversation. How dare you criticize me? I found that so funny. A lot of us so-called skeptics will do this. The Amazing Atheist blocked me. Same kind of bullshitter. Fake intellectual, yesteryear relevancy, etc. Similar to Sam Harris. I looked at Sam Harris YouTube. I'm like, dude, with your multi-million-dollar budget, shouldn't you have more than a few more subscribers than I have? With no budget at all? With a fucking goddamn webcam and a microphone that every other person criticizes? Shouldn't you have more than that? Clearly, you do not have the talent. Claiming yourself to be part of the intellectual dark web. You know, it's very impressive, my dude. Why don't you debate somebody who has more than 2 brain cells to rub together? Just a broken and sad man. Luka Pilipovic, I saw the hip atheists online lose their minds in real time with TDS. I can't believe how many people Trump has broken, including Sam Harris. Yeah, got Sam Harris. I mean, imagine. Maybe he'll come out next and defend Liz Cheney. Well, I don't care that her father killed 500,000 people. I don't care that she votes with the GOP 99% of the time. I don't care anything about I don't care about the fact that she votes for bills that I have called bigoted, that I have said are racist, homophobic, etc., sexist, misogynistic, whatever. I don't care about any of these things. She worshipped at the altar of Orange Man Bad, and that's really what matters. And that's really what this boils down to. Orange Man Bad. Therefore, even if a person is like Mike Pence would be castigated by yesteryear's Democrats. The liberals 5 years ago, 10 years ago would have been calling him Satan incarnate. But because of Donald Trump, because of his existence, all of a sudden he's perfectly fine. Zen Toaster. Sam Harris lost to Ben Affleck. I don't know the backstory on that, but I think that I need it, so you should DM me on Twitter. Please let me assume that that's true. So yeah, he decided to block me. And it's like, whatever. Actual Jake is there. He's another leftoid gadfly there. He's got his pronouns in the bio, too. Wait, since when is Sam Harris a leftist? I feel like he sucks because he's a liberal centrist. Well, yeah, the same thing at this point for Trump derangement syndrome purposes. Also, what do you want to talk about? I'm happy to chat sometime. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to chat about anything with you, dude. What the fuck? What are you talking about? Kitty, you can go up the other way, Kitty. Okay. The cat is trying to interrupt the stream. I better bring her up. Come on, show off how cute you are for everyone. Yes, she's a big buttery kitty. This is the one that chases her sister at night and has warbling concerts as well, waking me up 4 times last night, by the way. Thankfully, did not wake up the baby. Killeroy was here. Hey, Sticks, after what happened with Nick Rekieta, got a bogus strike and a 7-day ban that lasted for 10 days, something tells me we'll be seeing something similar, if not worse, happen to Crowder. Yeah, I mean, they might kick him off of YouTube, which will cause mayhem on the site. Probably lose a lot of subscribers because people will quit in a rage. But he's over on Rumble. He doesn't give a shit. I just did 100,000 on Rumble. I don't give a shit either. Who cares what happens to YouTube at this point? Jack Perry, Dick Morris says, due to MAGA energized for midterm GOP and MAGA, will sweep Senate and House due to not sampling likely voters just registered, says he. Some of the polls do actually use likely voter as opposed to registered. I don't, just a sec. Let me, I'll bring it up right now. We're going to fact check Dick Morris. Excellent. Yeah, where's the generic congressional? Yeah, Rasmussen and Trafalgar, those are likely. Those show the Republicans up. Registered for Politico and YouGov show the Democrats up. However, Fox used registered voters and showed a tie. And that was only about a week and a half ago. Then we have likely voters, Republicans +1. Registered Democrats +3, likely Republicans +2. So unless you use Rasmussen and Trafalgar, and they are fairly reliable polls, it would be near a tie anyway. So we're going to fact check Dick Morris on that. We do not know that to be the case. People need to pour out and vote regardless, and that's their responsibility. It really depends on how many people go to the polls. If turnout is high, the Republicans will sweep it. If turnout is lower, the Democrats will do fine in the Senate. They'll still lose the House, but it will be closer. Eminem, love your work, sir. What you think of Biden taking a month off with 2 vacations for almost a month away during the primaries? I don't care what he does. I wish he would take more time off. Why doesn't he just go on vacation until 2024? Jason McConnell, Trump increased federal spending by $7.8 trillion. DeSantis supports red flag laws. Jordan Peterson is an addict whose daughter left her husband and baby for Andrew Tate. The right is full of left. I wouldn't say that Donald Trump is full of leftoidism. I would say that I disagreed with his American Rescue Act, or whatever the fuck it was called at the time. And you'll remember that I was very vocal in opposing this. That being said, the lockdowns and so forth were not his actual doing. They were gubernatorial in nature. DeSantis does unfortunately support red flag laws, and I oppose them too. I would say that's up to the courts to decide. I have a feeling that they will fall out of favor. They'll be struck down, especially in the wake of Bruin. SCOTUS has put the writing on the wall. As far as Jordan Peterson and his daughter, I don't really care what they do because I don't know much about them. I don't get into the e-drama side of things. Chainmail, would you ever do an interview with a United States representative? Also, do you like nu metal? Not a huge fan of nu metal, and yeah, I guess I would. Depends on which representative it was. Rather have Senator Rand Paul on there, though. Steph Colonel, I got blocked by Pfizer on Facebook. Many such cases, I think, lately. Lapco92, love your content, Sticks. Can you wish a belated happy birthday to my friend Mandy in Australia? She's a longtime watcher, too. Keep up the good work. Happy birthday, Mandy. Don't get eaten by all of the carnivorous animals and vegetables that live in your country. Don't siphon kerosene out of something and then drink it. Cosmic Surgeon, Alex Jones has come out hard the last couple days, and Jay Dyer claims to have a report in the works against chitin and its effects on humans. Maybe bug and fungus chitin are different. I do not believe that eating bugs is a health detriment. I simply believe that people should not generally be doing it because it makes no sense. Just eat a steak. Grevin Share, I've been trying to describe a new game called The Mortician's Assistant on Steam. but it's the super chat censor won't let me describe it. It involves demons, exorcism, and is quite scary. Check it out. Sounds pretty cool. Ryan McDonald, USA. Tim Pool said he would fly you out free and pay for a nice steak dinner if you come on his show. Open invitation anytime. Do it, Sticks. Yes, when I'm back in the US, I'll definitely go on Timcast. I'm not going to fly out from the Netherlands, though. Jesus. Tinkin' this on Rumble. Morning, Stick666. Illinois still embraces mail-in voting. Even got an email with all the pros and no cons. Yeah, vote in person. It's more secure. So yeah, Sam Harris blocked me, whatever. The Wall Street Journal coming out with this. The CEO who cut his salary to give his employees a raise resigns amid legal issues. Of course, they bury the actual reason for those issues deeper in the article. Because this is, to be clear, Dan Price, the subject of this article, this is the CEO that every leftoid really, really loved a couple of years ago, because he said, look, I'm going to slash my own income and I'm going to give $70K a year starting to every employee. So janitor, I guess, coder, whatever it happens to be. You're one of his concubines, which sounds like it was part of this particular story. Regardless, you'll get, a reasonable amount of money. And leftoids thought that was great. Andrew Yang loved it because it's basically like a UBI. The chief executive of a Seattle company, who several years ago said he would cut his own salary to give his employees a raise, resigned this week amid charges of assault and reckless driving that were brought against him. Dan Price, the founder and now former CEO of payment processing company Gravity Payments, garnered attention in 2015 when he told his more than 100 employees that everyone at the company was going to make at least $70K. He also said he was cutting his own salary from $1.1 million to $70K, which is, technically disingenuous because you get stock options and other benefits. You're still the fucking CEO, so there are fringe benefits to being in that position. That's just the raw salary. But it worked. The leftoids are stupid, so they didn't understand that. Some employees' salaries would have more than doubled from the move. A video of the announcement went viral at the time and yielded a positive reaction from company customers. On the website, the company said employee turnover declined after it raised the minimum pay. Yeah, I mean, if you're bringing me from 55 to 70K, I'm less inclined to leave your company. Just to be clear, I mean, as far as that side of the business model goes, it's pretty good. And then Mr. Price, in a note to employees posted on Twitter Wednesday, said his presence had become a distraction at the company. Oh, how sad. It's all about the company, dude. I also need to step aside from these duties to focus full-time on fighting false accusations made against me, he wrote. Yes, apparently, I'll just read this out verbatim. Mr. Price's departure comes several months after he was charged with assault and reckless driving. A woman filed a police report in January after meeting with Mr. Price at a Seattle restaurant for a little fucking, probably. The woman alleged in the report that Mr. Price tried to kiss her multiple times in the car, then grabbed her throat when she rejected his advances. Mr. Price also allegedly did donuts in the parking lot while she was a passenger in his car. And he pleaded not guilty. And he does get the presumption of innocence because he's a leftoid. Imagine if he were a right-wing commentator or CEO or something, they'd be saying throw the wall at him. By the way, it'd be front page news if that were the case. So their socialist friend there, their UBI Yang lover, allegedly assaulted a woman and then was going completely insane in a parking lot. I can believe it. He looks like the type, dude. Maungi, lead political opponent attacked prior to a presidential election. I remember Mean Orange Man getting impeached for this. Yeah, true. Texas Joe, Ray Epps is the J6 pipe bomber. I cannot confirm or deny that that is the case officially. Disclaimer for YouTube purposes. Disturbed 2K7 Sticks, my command said DOD intends to transfer FAMs of kids for gender-affirming care under special needs. Also transfer service members out of unfriendly states for abortions, both not official yet. The latter I don't give a shit about. The former, of course, I think is unconscionable. Gender affirming. Snip, snip. Cole of Centauri. Sam Harris misquoted the Bible a few years ago to suggest Christianity can be as violent as Islam. I can sadly say I'm not surprised by what he said. P.S. I think it's mortuary assistant. Interesting. I would say, technically speaking, that's right. You look at some of the pogroms of Christianity throughout time, they're not necessarily pretty. You can claim that they're not canonical, that they were based on faulty interpretation of the Bible, but they did happen. Nocular Tech. Sticks, congrats on 100K on Rumble. Any thoughts on Shiba crypto? I hold some. No further thoughts for legal reasons. By the way, we do have almost 5,000 people tuning in live. The left has a responsibility to side with Salman Rushdie. Religious extremism is always dangerous, no matter the source. By Katha Pollitt. Yes, you remember Salman Rushdie, the anti-Islamist who was stabbed by an Islamist. It's interesting because I haven't really heard that much in defense of him from people who claim to support liberty. Libertarians, of course, have supported him and said religious zealotry can be problematic. I haven't heard very much, and even from the dedicated atheists of the far left. They haven't said very much about it. I think that they're just afraid. They're afraid of being called Islamophobic or something. Well, then make up the excuse of, well, this is not authentic Islam, but Salman Rushdie did nothing wrong and nobody should be stabbing him for promoting a book called Satan's Verses or whatever it is. Khomeini himself, the Iranians, which are a big boogeyman, are the ones that issued a fatwa against him. However, I would point out there are two basic possibilities with regards to who stabbed Rushdie. One is it's related to Islam. It's fatwa related. It's extremism in that sense. The other possibility is Rushdie has been very much in favor of Indian nationalism. So it could be someone from Pakistan, and I don't know about the origins of the stabber, who is a Pakistani nationalist. That is possible. Yeah, the Satanic Verses, Tony Walker pointing out. Jack Perry, that was more his high point. High turnout is a must. Yes, high turnout in the subsequent midterms is very, very important. You must go and vote, and you must get other people to go and vote. And I think I just accidentally closed out my Rumble tab when I was trying to open the next news tab. Thank you very much. God, this is why I need two screens. Okay, we're back now. Thank goodness. But this particular article is querying whether the left will support Salman Rushdie. If anything, Rushdie was the one respectful of Muslims. After 9 years in hiding, he's led an increasingly normal public life because he didn't think even one of the world's 1.5 billion Muslims would try to kill him. The real Islamophobes are the people like Jimmy Carter, who was seen both siding it in the New York Times just after the fatwa was announced. It is our duty to condemn the threat of murder, to protect the author's life, and to honor Western rights of publication and distribution. At the same time, we should be sensitive to concern and anger that prevails among more moderate Muslims. A person who is moderately religious does not stab somebody for criticizing their religion. That is the truth. The fact is that he criticized Islamofascism. Well, who cares? He criticized a dude who's been dead for 1,000 years. Who gives a shit? No moderate person is going to stab you for doing so. Battle Elf, hands off our foreskins. Stop mutilation. Yes, indeed, I am an intactivist. I do believe circumcision should be banned. Kevin Siu, yo Sticks, been watching you since 2016. A big thanks to you and my business professor at the time for helping me walk off the libtard plantation. Clank. Die to know. Your thoughts on Tulsi Gabbard. Disingenuous hack. She's trying to play the game. She's like Andy Yang. Is there a serious case for a not awful election for the Democrats this fall? This is a question by Susan Glasser of The New Yorker. Well, I'll answer that before bothering to go through your pitiful article here. No, there's really not. Here's the best case scenario for the Democrats. You don't lose the Senate. You stay 50-50 or quite near to it. And you only lose the House by a dozen seats or something like that. There's your good outcome for the Democratic Party. Right now, in polling in the generic congressional ballot, you have a 50-50 game. It's effectively a tie between the GOP and the Dems. By the way, in a tie, the Republicans do tend to prevail. Even then, though, you lose the House. You probably lose it by 20 seats in a tie, just to be clear. I don't expect that the surge of the Democrats is going to last, because a lot of that is just Dem partisans that are now supporting the party and or Biden more temporarily because they passed the Joe Manchin bill, basically the Manchin-Schumer bill with regards to green energy and expanding the IRS, etc. It won't really hurt them because the inflation from the anti-inflation bill will show up after midterms. So it's not going to hurt them. But it's not, I don't think, going to help them through the midterms. That is, you've got September and October and then part of November still to go, along with a week and a half left in August. By then, I don't think those people that are going back aboard really give a shit about it. They want more. And I don't think they're going to get anything. Someone you may know for your multiple screen fund. Yeah, apparently I need 2 screens here so I can get things done. Nathan Ruff, I'm all for these new IRS agents. If they pull double duty and go after the frickin' telemarketers too. Yeah, but they won't. They'll go after the middle and upper middle class. They will go after political dissidents. Dr. Zeodin, your honest opinion on Lincoln 1860 to 1865. Please go a bit in depth. Razor just touches on the surface. Abraham Lincoln, ultimately, was a very flawed president. He ignored habeas corpus, various criminal rights and proceedings. Once, I think, jailed the entire legislature of a state. I can't remember which state it was for opposing him. Claimed credit for freeing the slaves wrongfully, although a lot of that was after his death into the early 20th century, actually, when I believe it was 4 different states that had abolished slavery. They were part of the Union. They abolished it by state action during the Civil War. Several states, Delaware, by the way, Biden's home state was one of them. And I think the other was Kentucky, retained slavery until afterwards. It had to be abolished by constitutional amendment, which had nothing to do with Lincoln. He was dead by then. Abe Lincoln was poor at hiring. He hired a slurry of incompetent generals, carpetbaggers, really, you would call them, until you got, the era of Sherman and Grant towards the end. And completely fumbled the Civil War for the first 3 or 4 years. So Abe Lincoln had many shortcomings. What he did do is he was charismatic. The Gettysburg Address is one of the greatest speeches ever delivered. Very terse, very flowery, almost like a proto-Obama, you could say. There's a similar worship cult around Obama, by the way, right now. He did manage to hold the country together. He just had to kill 500,000 people to do so. I could do a more detailed video on Lincoln. Now is not the time. Raul, my presidente, Miss Trump. They hate neocons. Adios. Alfar Kinwolf said 5.00, but you sent $2, so I don't know what you're referring to. I don't get it. Britton Johnson, hey Sticks, love your channel, bro. I have to ask, how is Tulsi like Yang? She still serves our country and has a different viewpoint, I believe. She's a grifter, just like Yang. Don't be fooled by her. She's an anti-gunner. She's basically, she's the kind of person who starts up an Insta or a TikTok or something and shows herself surfing and is not over 50 and so young by congressional standards and expects that to carry her to greatness. She has no specific skills that would make her a good president, and I don't think she would be one. Battle Elf, Sic Semper Tyrannis. We have a Rumble rant by Andrew Spurzen. Sticks, please put the start time in the description. Anything, can't tell me how late I am to the stream. Yeah, the problem is I don't always know exactly when I'm going to start. Now we have an MSNBC article, so you know it's going to be good. Ron DeSantis suspends a prosecutor for having different opinions than Ron DeSantis. An attack on the state attorney is an attack on the voters who twice elected him to office. Yes, the state's attorney that DeSantis removed from his position is, I believe, now suing actually over this. The idea is that the state's attorney came out and said openly, publicly, with no hesitation, I'm not going to do my job. I will not enforce elements of Florida state law. This sets up an interesting precedent. Do you have the First Amendment right to say you're going to violate the law and still keep your at-will position, which you can be canned from by the governor, again, at will, that is taxpayer funded. He's suing. I have a feeling that DeSantis wins this one fairly easily. I can't think of any particular legal argument that could be used to undo it. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' removal of a political adversary this month and his replacement of him with an ally raises serious questions about the rule of law in Florida, particularly given the context in which DeSantis, a Republican, was attacking his opponent, a Democrat, who has been twice elected prosecutor, by claiming the local official was neglecting his duty. Well, he came out and officially stated that he was going to neglect his duty. That's really what's at stake here. If you say you're a prosecutor or whatever, and you say, I'm not actually going to uphold the law, I'm going to ignore an element of my job, my duties. Do the taxpayers of that state have a reason to continue paying you? They also elected, I like how they pointed out, he was elected twice. So is DeSantis. DeSantis was elected with Trump's blessing, of course, and his endorsement. But he is the governor. He was also duly elected and will be reelected by a considerable margin. He's let go of this individual for openly stating that he intended not to do his job. So what's the problem? And why does this have anything to do with politics? MSNBC is pretending to uphold the First Amendment. The state's attorney has the right to come out and say that he will not do his job. That's his First Amendment right. And how dare Ron DeSantis can him? That's bullshit. That makes no sense whatsoever. You can go on through the article. Again, links in the description, mostly archived, of course. But I thought this one was weird. And just think, MSNBC trying to tell people that they support the First Amendment. Dude, every other article on your goddamn website is an attempt to silence somebody. Britton Johnson. Oh, I already did that one. Sorry. Battle Elf. Oh, I did that one too. Geez, where am I? Lowe's. Yang never struck me as a grifter, just a well-meaning and oft oblivious moron. No, he's a grifter. He wants the money. That's what he's in for. Trust me. I can read him like a book. The Neon Werewolf. As someone who understands history, how long do you think our current iterations of the deep state have been in control of the U.S.? Since roughly, I'd say, the 1940s or thereabouts. And a lot of them are Nazis. Operation Paperclip is a thing. Go to Sentimental Corp if you want to know the truth about U.S. politics. Labco92. Woodrow Wilson was a worse president than Lincoln. The 20th century was washed in blood directly due to his policies. I can't be swayed on this. Yeah, Wilson was pretty fucking bad. Dr. Zeodin. Who is your number one president in U.S. history? Please elaborate and then quickly go through 2 to 5. I'm wanting to know. Number 1 is Thomas Jefferson. I would say even better than George Washington. A very laid-back, laissez-faire man. You've got the Louisiana Purchase, etc., etc. 2 through 5. Well, I mean, Washington would be on the list, obviously, because he could have effectively converted the United States into a kingdom. Also, Jefferson gets one additional point. He undid the Alien and Sedition Act. I should probably point that out. Theodore Roosevelt's on that list. By the way, modern progressives would consider him a deeply disturbing far-right racist, so let's not get into the weeds on that one. Monroe, with the Monroe Doctrine. That definitely solves some problems by keeping the European imperialistic powers out of the Americas by and large. That was important. People completely undersell him. And who else? I mean, Trump is in the top rung, but he's not in the top 5, just to be clear. Same with Reagan. Eisenhower's up there, I suppose. He had his own problems. I don't know who number 5 would be, but those would be the top 4. Battle Elf. Texas is an outrage when your husband is dead. Your mother was a hamster. Thoughts on possible civil war? It will not happen. I bet the same countries that supported the Americas in the Revolutionary War would support the globalist left here, plus Canada and China. So shut up, conservatives. You know, they can pound sand. There will be no civil war. Chaos. Hey, Sticks. Love your political analysis. Also, folklore is a very good avenue for occult experimentation. Here's some chug money. Yeah, I've got some energy right here, actually. Mr. Twisted Frenzy. Generally speaking, I can understand the structure of the states and their role of the governors and the federal government and the role of the president. But where do senators and Congress fit into the mix? Well, Congress is part of the trifecta. There's a separation of powers between the legislature, it's Congress, House, and Senate, the executive branch, president, vice president, and the judiciary. I don't know exactly what you mean. Do you mean the balance between the three federal powers as opposed to the balance between state and federal? I'm not 100% sure exactly what you mean. The legislature crafts laws, and the House has the purse strings, by the way. The president can veto them or okay them and has certain other powers, commander-in-chief of the military, head diplomat effectively. The judiciary can weigh in on the constitutionality of different issues if there's a plaintiff. And that's basically how the separation of powers works. Aquafan, may you make a tier list of all 45 POTUSes. I know it'd take a bit of research and compiling, but it'd be a cool video. It'd probably be multiple hours. Oh, I could do that in 30 minutes, but I don't have time right now. Jim Morrison, Lincoln had a formidable sense of humor. Very grave humor in many cases. Musically assured destruction. Whatever happened to the Ohio abortion story involving the illegal alien? It just vanished into thin air. I have no clue. Could it be a lie by omission? Someone you may know. Lol, I'd like to be able to tell my boss I don't want to do my job and still be employed and get paid. If it doesn't fly in private enterprise, why should it for the government? Exactly. Fooly Cooley, S.O. to Aquafan. I would definitely like to see a tier list of POTUS. Lapco92, best president was William Henry Harrison. Died in 30 days. If only many other politicians had been so considerate. Well, yeah, there's that. But if they have good ideas, you don't want them to die in 30 days. Michael Cricklow, do you think the United States would be better off if the president could not serve consecutive terms like in Virginia? What are the pros and cons? That'd be a terrible idea, because what if they do a really good job and can't get reelected? And then you have some asshole filling in for them. Cold Summer 91, do you think critical race theory could lead to hate groups using that psychology as recruit tools? I have a feeling it already has. It seems to be already a recruiting hate tool for the far left. D. Poppins, been watching you for years now. You've kind of become a part of my morning routine. Never change. Yeah, a little bit late today, but that's all good. Okay. Florida Dem Jewish leaders call on GOP to urge DeSantis to cancel rally appearance with Mastriano in Pennsylvania. Why? Because Mastriano uses Gab. By the way, I'm on Gab. You should follow me. Links in the description, cross-platform to that. The idea is that Gab is a white supremacist site or recruits white supremacists. It's an extremist site, in other words. I would like to tell the Florida Democratic Jewish leaders, of course, I'm on Gab too. We clankers don't hate Jews. We don't hate anyone other than authoritarians in general. And I happen to have, what the hell, how many people follow me on Gab? Let me check. I'm fact-checking live here, not without good reason. Yeah, 47,000 people are following me on Gab. What are you talking about? Gab is actually more of a site for, well, not the neocons, but like the MAGA light crowd more than anything. There's a lot of DeSantis support there. It's even gone via like a fucking Torba doesn't even seem to like Trump half the time. Trump is too edgy for Andrew Torba, I suppose. Opinionated Junkie, thoughts on sundown towns? Oh, you mean like in Japan where they have those settlements for people that are, you know, really old and decrepit and demented? And it's like a little town, and then the person who's demented is there, and they can wander around. It's all made safe, like with, you know, rubber pads on the corners. It's a better idea than the kind of shit that we have in the Western world where we put people in a goddamn prison for being too old. Even in the nice nursing homes in the Western world, it's worse than what you get in Japan if you're dirt poor. So I think we should adopt this method. Mr. Wonderful, my troll side wants Miss Piggy to win in 24 because she would be the first female president and not you-know-who, Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's out, and don't worry about her. Only two things I don't like about you-know-who, her face. Oh, two-faced, I get the reference. No, I don't like her ideology. It's funny because a lot of her ideology I would dislike because she's further right than me, to tell the truth. But the Trump derangement syndrome is noted. Skycloud Rain, you heard of YouTuber, 800,000 subs, named Layaway86. Seems like a classical liberal. He is American, but mostly talks about the geopolitics of China and its threat to the West. Curious to know what you think. Never heard of him. Have to look into it. Opinionated Junkie, I mean racist towns. Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to have a town that's all one race, I don't see the problem. You want to incorporate a settlement and everyone there happens to be of the same race. Who cares? You're leaving everyone alone. You're not victimizing anyone. They tried to do this with, what was it, in Colorado, I think. There were a bunch of people that were black, and they wanted to have a black-only town and try to incept that. And this has happened multiple times. I would say once it's incorporated, once all of the constitutional aspects are accounted for, you can't willfully keep somebody out from buying property because they are the wrong color. You can't do that. What you can do, potentially, is make sure all of the land is previously allotted according to some schema. And there are actually grandfathered laws in the United States that limit the race of people buying property in some areas. They do still exist. They have not yet been ruled unconstitutional at the SCOTUS level. Raul, the El Clanco. Aquafan, hamsters make great pets. Probably also great food too. Just saying. They only live 3 to 5 days and don't need food or water. End jokes. Yeah. Cold Summer 91. Do you think Disney will shrink as a company because they keep pissing everyone off? No, they'll still have an audience. As long as the population grows, they can slowly shrink and they'll still have the same fan base now, won't they? Battle Elf, Superhead Harris will be the first woman president. I really doubt that she'll ever be in that position. We're all hoping. I mean, you've got people that are further right than David Duke wishing that Joe Biden has a long and healthy life. Please, oh Lord Jesus, please let his Alzheimer's advancement slow down. Please do not leave us with President Harris. That's why it's like the security fence in Rehoboth Beach at his summer home. It's completely superfluous. Just put up a poster that in front that says, if you do anything to Joe, this is what you get. And it's a picture of Kamala Harris with her 20 chins as she's laughing at dead children or something like that. Nobody's going to take a shot at the dude. Nobody's going to hurt him. Jesus, a complete masochist would look askance to that. JWT 6577. They say that these retirement communities in Florida are an octogenarian drug-fueled orgies. Or was he talking about separatist towns? Yeah, no, I think he meant the separatist towns, but I did like to touch upon the sundowner communities. Yeah, there are some in Florida, but Japan, I think, does it better. They have like entire little towns. They look exactly like a normal town. And so like an old person will wander out of their home and then just sit at the bus stop because they think they have to go to work because they're 20 again or something. And then eventually the nurse just brings them back in. They're completely safe. They're walled out. They can't wander off. They have little cafes and everything, and they provide everything for people. And it's like a normal life. If I get to the point where I'm like 90 years old and I don't know what the hell's going on, at the very least, give me some normalcy. Or just let me off myself. Mr. Wonderful, I meant that Hillary Clinton thought she would be the first female president. Can't type her name in a super chat. You literally can't type Hillary Clinton in a super chat? Is that true? Can anyone confirm that? That'd be a revelation to me. E100 Omega 123. Sticks, you should do videos on Tammany Hall and Antonio Gramsci. Tammany is the Democrat heritage of honking. I know of Tammany Hall, trust me. Gramsci is a commie from the 20s who laid the groundwork for intersectionalism. And please don't send any more super chats on any platform because I do have other things I have to do. I think I have a couple on Rumble. See, here's the problem. I can't select the bubble if the chat's too old. Now the chat's not even appearing at all. This is a big problem. Anders Berzins, Hillary Clinton. Anders Berzins, the laws in the U.S. change on the 24th about 80% in uppers and bolts. If you have a chance, spend $50 and buy a chunk of metal. Secan Chaser, hey Sticks, just wanted to express how much I value. I'm trying to get up there. Value your opinion on this clown world we live in. Thank you for the great work that you do. Thank you very much. My apologies, because those bubbles disappear after about a minute or two. See, that was the problem that I had. Somebody actually had a 4chan post earlier, and they were ranting about how they had sent me a Twitter tip on, press the bubble and the chat appears. Again, though, you do have these other two problems. I must admit that it is a big one on Rumble. The bubble disappears after a minute or two. The happy plague doctor, Hillary Clinton. So apparently you can say that, and must have been something else wrong. Skycloud Rain. If Red Wave comes in 22, wouldn't that be bad for 24 when it matters? Seems every 2 years Congress swings from Dem to Rep. Wouldn't it matter more with a Rep president? No, I don't think so. No, because there are too many pressing issues that the Republicans need to block Joe Biden's bullshit for the subsequent 2 years. Otherwise, we're just going to end up with even more taxes and other problems. Princess, sundown towns in the Old South. I don't know. I that might be a bad word I'm not allowed to say. Don't let the sun set on you here. I don't know what you're trying to say with that first part. I have a feeling that I'm not supposed to pronounce it on YouTube. Mr. Wonderful, I had to amend that super chat 10 times. My apologies. Yeah, YouTube has some issues. So yeah, Gab's being attacked again. What else is new? And then we have the Finnish Prime Minister who had a drunken party with her friends, and people are making a lot out of it. By the way, she did voluntarily take a drug test to shut the people up who were whining about this. And the funny part is, it's the moralistic right wing is whining about this. She's 36 years old. She went to a party with it looks like a dozen other people or something, like other millennials. She's a millennial. She's close to my age. And she's the fucking Prime Minister of Finland. What am I doing wrong? And she had a party. And they were clearly drunk and mugging for the camera and dancing around and singing and doing other things that literally all of you do if you have a social life. I don't know this field because I don't have a social life. The only time I dance is with my daughter or with the cat. Take her for a swing and then throw you out the window. But if you have a social life, you've probably been to a party in college or whatever. She's not that far beyond college age, which might show why parts of Europe have economic issues. But she got drunk and had a party. And who gives a shit? I'm not understanding exactly where the scandal is here. Finnish PM says videos of her boisterous party shouldn't have been made public. Apparently, one of the people that was at the party recorded this and decided to put it out, which means that she's got one friend there that has political leanings that do not align with her own. I don't give a shit what party she's from or anything. Number one, these sort of things should be private. Number two, she drank alcohol. Oh my God, she did what literally 50% of the rest of the nation does on a goddamn fucking weekend. In Finland, it's probably closer to 70 or 80%. Who gives a shit? Number three, who is anyone else to tell her that she should take a drug test? And now that she has, and I'm assuming if she's willing to take one, the results will probably come out negative. Are these people going to shut their fucking asses up? And who cares? Some people are saying that it was an orgy, but again, does that incapacitate her ability to make decisions with regards to Finland's very limited economic and military impact in the world? No. Then who cares? All the other elites, they're having orgies too, but they're not with people that are near their own age. They're having sex with small children and animals and stuff like that. Honestly, this actually corroborates the idea of her being reasonably normal. There were no kids there drinking or, in lingerie. There were no people in drag. There was no cross-dressing dwarf. There were no dogs. There were no giraffes or whatever. You didn't see any drugs visibly, even if people probably, you snorted a line in the bathroom. Okay, who hasn't done that at a party other than myself because I've never been to a party? Who cares? It corroborates her being normal, actually. Supporters, meanwhile, have defended her and charged critics with applying a double standard. Why can't she party after work? Do we expect our leaders not to be human beings? Asked Ashok Swain, professor of peace and conflict research at Sweden's Uppsala University. One thing is she should get better supporters to support her, as opposed to ivory tower professors that probably get up to weird shit and people that are on the far left, because I believe that most of her supporters seem to be. But who gives a damn? Dr. Zeodin, love you, Sticks. You'll read this even though you said stop. Much better than Tim Pool. WJ Dad, thank you for the daily live streams. You're welcome. Stephen 13, I know it's unlikely, but just say what would happen if somehow DeSantis loses. What do you think? What would you think? And would you lose faith in the American people? No, but I might lose faith what little I had in the Floridian people, which is not much. Look up Florida man memes sometime. Jesus. Denying S. Didn't the signers of the Constitution get so drunk the night before they broke chamber pots? Yes, and Andrew Jackson did the same. He used to have drunken revelries with his friends, and they would smash up the bar and frequently get sued for the damages. Yes, they drank absolutely enormous amounts of alcohol. To be clear, our founders were complete drunks. When they partied harder than you have ever partied. Probably you would put George Washington. Why do you think he had no teeth? He probably rotted them out with wine and whiskey. He had a distillery, actually, too. Put him up against any college class today, guarantee they could drink him under the table. Our founders got drunk and shot animals. That was basically their day-to-day routine. And a little bit of light plant breeding once in a while. Anders Berzins, Finland is at war with Russia. They need a strong leader. Yeah, some war. It'd be a short war, though. Yeah, the last time the Russians fucked with the Finns, it didn't go over so well. That's why they're so laid back. You can't take our saunas. So anyway, I think that I'm going to go off here. We've covered everything. How many people were watching at peak? Yeah, about 6,000. This is a truncated one. I have to keep it a little bit shorter today. I've got a lot going on. So, yeah, partying with George Washington, that'd be quite a thing. George Washington had a hell of a Christmas punch recipe. Yeah, it was probably just straight whiskey with some cherries floating around or something like that. And then he would just straight up chug it. And he was big as fuck for a person in that era. 6'2" back then, that's actually my height. Now it's like, you're above average, but you're not freakishly tall. Back then it would have been like basketball star level. Nobody was 6'2" back then. Just think of Lincoln. He was 6'4". Ian, the average 25-year-old male today has equal test levels to a 65-year-old in 1987. Intentional for placation of the masses. I think that's because of pheromones more than anything else. Look up rat paradise, and then you'll see, I believe, what is going on in urban areas as far as testosterone and male complacency. Anyway, it's time for me to go off. I've got a million other things to do, including eating more of that leftover pea soup. By the way, I made split pea and ham soup for the first time yesterday, and it was good. And yes, the spoon will actually stick up right in it. I did make it thick enough. It was perfect, except for there were no carrots because the carrots that I had on hand, unfortunately, were fucked up, and I didn't realize it at first, and it's too lazy to go back out to the store. Marianne Cobretti, George Washington took his slaves' teeth. Yes, but I believe that the slaves that the teeth were from were dead at the time. I don't think he killed anybody for their teeth. That is, I believe, a mythology of people that are on the far left. That's about all. Peace out.